Welcome. The purpose of this video is to teach you how to compute the linear trend using Excel. So I'm going to assume basic knowledge of Excel, since I think most of you have had the Excel class offered here. So if you look here on your screen, what you see is these data are exactly the same as what was on the page that we were just working on. I just recopied it over here. The first thing I want to show you is that the whole purpose of the linear trend model is to look at the relationship between two things. And in this case, we're looking at the relationship between time, so that's our X column right here, and demand. And demand is our Y column. So in Excel, it's kind of convenient. If we just highlight these two columns down like this, we can just insert a graph, which helps us see the relationship. So we go over here because we want to do a scatter plot, and I just want to look at this look at it with dots. I don't really want to put a line for right now, so I'm just going to click here and I'm going to get a scatter plot. Depending on which scatter plot or which one you choose, you get something that looks a little bit like this. We're down here on the x-axis, we've got time, and up here on the y-axis, we've got the actual demand. And you can sort of see that the relationship is kind of trending up. Over time, demand is picking up. And if you can't really see that here, you can look here at these numbers, and you can see they start at 12 and they go to 40. So we expect there to be a positive relationship. So that's all we're going to be doing here in this, is determining this line here. So we can insert the line if we so desire, but what we really need to know in this problem is, what is the slope and the intercept of this line? Now, we can just right click here, format trend line, display the line on the thing on the page, and voila, there it is. So that's the answer, right? That's the slope, and this is the intercept right here. Once we have this, we're pretty much golden. But let me just show you another way to calculate this. Okay, so what we're going to do is first calculate the slope. So we're going to run down here, and instead of using this complicated formula, we're going to just use an Excel formula. So what we're going to do here in this box, we're going to begin with an equal sign. You can also press the plus sign because it's just easier because it's on the keypad. And we're going to type in the word slope, and we're going to open up our parentheses. And it's going to tell us, okay, first you got to highlight the known y's and then the known x's. So the known y's I know is this, the actual demand, so I'm going to highlight that. Then I'm going to separate these two sets with a comma, and then I'll just highlight this as the known x's, and I'm going to close my parentheses, and that's going to tell me the slope. Now, in this class, one of the things I've learned over time is that rounding is a big issue. So if we use this to calculate all of our forecasts, we will get the wrong answer. We will not get an answer that I will be expecting on a multiple choice test. So you cannot do it like this. It will not give you the right answer. Okay, so I hope I'm being really clear. This is not going to work. You have to go back into your equation and type in round, open parentheses, and hit comma 3 and close parentheses. Now, let's just say you think, oh, we don't need to do that. We can just use the little thing up here that reduces the decimals, right? So let's just go ahead and put that right here, just so I can illustrate to you what the difference is. So we'll do the same thing, slope, and we'll open up our parentheses. We're going to highlight our y's, so we highlight them there, comma, x's, highlight them here, close parentheses, and oh, that Dr. Mouse, she doesn't know what she's talking about. You can just reduce this down. So we're going to decrease the decimal down to 3, and boom, those numbers look the same, right? Okay, well, just watch what happens. Now let's go ahead and do the intercept. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to hit plus or equal sign. I'm going to just go ahead and write round, open parentheses, intercept, and I'm going to need to do round, open parentheses, intercept, then I highlight the known y's, I highlight the known x's, and then I need to put the number of decimals I want to round it to, and so I need to put comma 3. Same thing we're going to do over here. We'll just copy this formula exactly like it is, because that's easier. Copy. We have to hit escape to get out of there, to then click on another box. If we just try to pull it over, it will roll the equation over one, and then that's going to be looking at this column and this column, which we don't really want to do. But we're going to get rid of the round function here just because I want to show you the difference. So we'll get rid of all this. And we've got all that. So now we're going to round it down to 3. Okay. Now we're going to compute the forecast. So we're going to make 2 columns here. We've got this one. Let's make another one here, a little smaller. This is with round, and this is going to be without. So here we'll calculate it with the rounding. So we're going to start here. Remember, it's y hat, so we'll do equals. That's going to be our y hat formula, and we have to do the intercept. So we'll roll down here and we'll click on the intercept, which is this 9.533, and we're going to want to anchor this. So we're going to hit F4, and that's going to put a $ on either side of E, and so that means that when we move our formula around, it won't roll the intercept. It'll keep the intercept the same. So we want the intercept plus, we need to open up parentheses. Again, the slope, we're going to do the same thing here. To roll down here and grab the slope, which is right here. And also we want to anchor that. And then we want to do times x. So we'll click over here on this number 1. Now that we're not going to anchor because we want to be able to pull this formula down so we don't have to retype it every time. So we're going to let that one roll. So we want this to round to 3 decimal places. Round, comma 3. Now we've got it set at 2, so I need to let it go up 1. So now we'll go ahead and copy that formula down. We ought to be able to just pull it straight down. Because everything is anchored, it should be pretty easy. So there we go. That's our forecasted amount. Now, you probably have already noticed this, and that is that in this formula here, we have 9.532, and down here, when we did it with Excel rounding to 3 decimals, we ended up with 9.533, and I don't have a good answer for you as to why that is the case. It's probably with the rounding in this equation right here, but we're going to have to go with it for right now. So here we have our forecasted with the rounding, with using the round function. Now let's go over here. We can just copy this over here, copy, escape, paste it in here, but we need to go down here and change these. It'll keep the $signs. Now this one, we're not going to round, we're going to get rid of this. And what you see is a difference. It's not a big difference, it's small. It's at the 3rd decimal place, but when you're nervous and you're taking a test and you're trying to get it exactly right, it'll drive you insane. So if you just do it this way with the round function, it's just easier for everybody involved, especially you and me, because you don't want to have your number off at all because it'll get you messed up. So stick with me, go with the rounding. I think it makes it a lot easier. Okay, so there we have our answer. Now we're going to go over here and do our MAD. where again we can just use formulas. So we're going to do ABS, absolute value of actual 12 minus our forecast. Remember, that's what we're trying to find the difference of, ABS of that. And here we got our 0.31. I need to increase my decimal, I guess. And then we ought to be able to just copy that down. We don't need to anchor or anything because we're just going to pull that formula down. We don't need to copy that though, so we'll just go like that all the way down. And then down here, well, we got a choice. We've got two things we can actually do. Let me move that over so you can see it. I'm worried that you won't be able to see that. At the bottom down here, we can, I just want to scoot this over a little bit. At the bottom here, another little trick I've learned is this thing up here called auto sum. If you hit this down arrow, you can just hit average, and that will give you the average of all of these. Again, you want to make sure you round it correctly. So right now it's just going to be willy-nilly, but if you put in round, open parentheses, comma 3, it will give you the right rounding as well. So there you go, 2.174. And I just think that's so much easier than doing it all by hand. And you don't have to worry about making any sort of math error because Excel does it all for you. So the formulas I have printed down here on how to calculate these things, just in case you didn't write it down or catch it or whatever. They're here, assuming you've got your information in the same boxes I have mine in. So I hope you found this helpful, and we will see you soon.